This morning, battling the LA fires, the challenges ahead, and who's using the disaster to play politics.
Plus, we're giving away restaurant bucks all week. See how you can enter to win. Well, good morning and welcome to News 3 Now this morning on a Monday. I'm Kyrie Lee.
I'm Chris Stanford. Boy, is it a Monday.
Yeah.
Oh, is it a Monday?
A Monday, and yeah, the cold on top of that. Like I said, I do not feel like I wore enough layers this morning, so please make sure you don't make the same mistake as you're headed out the door this morning.
Right, need something to lift me up today after that Packers loss. Got these freezing temps out there. But it's going to be a while, Jacob, before you give us any good news, I guess.
Yeah, temperatures are going to continue to be cold. And just to put this into perspective, Kyrian, when you walked in, the wind chill was 0. Now it's at -10. So the temperatures are continuing to drop throughout the morning. Negative teens further off to the west, still in the negative single digits, but certainly very cold off to the east. We have alert day conditions in the forecast for this morning and for tomorrow morning, since wind chills will be near -20 degrees at times. Tomorrow morning is going to be even colder. Now, looking at the actual temperatures, they are easily in the single digits, below 0 for a few locations off to the north and west. And as we look at the current radar, we are seeing some very light flurries, although it is possible that some of these flurries aren't even reaching the ground. However, snow is going to be very, very hard to come by going forward. Looking at the forecast today, we are going to see plenty of sunshine, but temperatures will remain cold, and the winds are going to remain breezy throughout the day, so the wind chills will likely stay near 0. But I'll talk more in detail about when it will finally warm up a little bit coming up a little bit later.
All right, sounds good. Folks, you can stay on top of those alert day conditions and stay ahead of those temps by downloading the free First Warn weather app.
Well, let's take a live look now at I-90-94 West in Wisconsin Dells. This is just north of the ramp to US 12, State Route 16. There is a crash which has closed all westbound lanes. This has been an active scene for over an hour now, but we are keeping an eye on it and the roads there, and we'll give you updates as we learn more.
All right, let's get out to Los Angeles this morning where those fires continue to burn. This is a look top of one of the hills there. You can't really get a perspective of the fires raging, but there are 3 of them. The crew is reporting some progress on some of them, but officials are worried that the winds are going to pick back up earlier this week and undo some of the progress that they made.
California Governor Gavin Newsom says he thinks the Los Angeles wildfires will be the worst natural disaster in U.S. history in terms of just the cost associated with it. 24 people are dead as a result. Some 10,000 structures have been destroyed, more than 60 square miles scorched. More than 100,000 people over the weekend remained under evacuation orders or warnings.
Now, a lot of people who evacuated still don't know the fate of their property. The sheriff's office began escorting residents one by one on Saturday into the evacuation zone. This stopped because of an overwhelming number of people who showed up. That included Yalda Naini. She's an oncologist working in the hospital where the fire started. She wasn't able to go back to her home to get anything and hoped to get into the evacuation zone to see if anything survived.
And I saw actually the house was okay until 1:30. I could see on the cameras, but then after 1:30 it went blank, and around 3 the neighbor sent us a picture of our house on fire.
JP Morgan estimates insured losses from the crisis will top $20 billion. Officials say uninsured losses are a greater challenge. Statistics show LA County lost about 500,000 homeowner policies between 2020 and 2022. Some lawmakers want Congress now to help the uninsured.
Meanwhile, President-elect Donald Trump called officials handling the wildfires incompetent, asking why the flames were not yet extinguished. CBS's Tom Hansen reports.
A county-wide crisis reigniting political hostilities.
There is a serious lack of competent governance in California.
Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom is now pushing back against President-elect Donald Trump's claim that there had been no water for some fire hydrants. Last week, there were allegations of low water levels in at least one reservoir feeding the hydrants, hampering the response.
The reservoirs are completely full, the state reservoirs here in Southern California. That mis and disinformation, I don't think advantages or aids any of us.
At a press conference Sunday, Mayor Karen Bass downplayed talk of a growing rift between local officials and the incoming administration.
How troubled are you that there's a lack of communication between the city of Los Angeles
and the incoming Trump administration?
There isn't a lack of communication between the city of Los Angeles and the incoming Trump administration. I have spoken with representatives of the incoming administration. I'll be talking more about that in the coming days.
In a letter, LA County Supervisor Catherine Barger extended an invitation of her own to the president-elect and urged the incoming administration to consider financial assistance for the communities affected.
I look forward to welcoming President-elect Trump to our communities so he can see the desperate need.
Tom Hansen, CBS News, California.
Meantime, President-elect Donald Trump is set to be inaugurated in 1 week. It comes as his cabinet nominees are preparing for their confirmation hearings. Those start tomorrow. 13 cabinet picks will be questioned on Capitol Hill this week, including his pick for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Attorney General Pam Bondi. Senators who have held a number of private meetings with the cabinet picks are now preparing to scrutinize them in public.
The fight in the courts continues over whether to release special counsel Jack Smith's findings from 2 criminal investigations into the president-elect. This is despite Smith's unexpected resignation over the weekend. Courts made it official in a court filing where federal prosecutors revealed Smith had been separated from the department. Smith had been leading 2 investigations. One focused on the alleged mishandling of classified documents after Trump left office. The second into alleged election interference related to January 6th.
Was fueled by lies. Lies by the defendant targeted at obstructing a bedrock function of the U.S. government, the nation's process of collecting, counting, and certifying the results of the presidential election.
The court closed the 2 cases following Trump's win in November. The findings are now in the hands of the Justice Department.
Meantime, billionaire Elon Musk is turning his attention to European politics. That is, as the president-elect has tapped him to lead the new Department of Government Efficiency here in the U.S. Musk has already endorsed the Alternative for Germany, or AfD. That's a party officially suspected of extremism by a German court. Musk has also been posting on a series of historic rape cases in the UK. They involve underage victims and gang members, mainly of Pakistani ancestry. The British police there have been criticized for not acting quickly on this because of fears that they would be perceived as racist. Right-wing groups have used it as fuel for hatred. Now, thanks to Musk, it's back on the front page.
He's failed to secure the kind of adulation that I think that he craves with his memes and his attempts at comedy, or even with his kind of attempts to be cool. I think it might be that simple.
James O'Brien is a radio host who reported on the rape cases. He believes Musk is courting the far right for political reasons.
President Joe Biden spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Sunday about the progress in negotiations for a Gaza ceasefire. Talks mediated by the U.S., Egypt, and Qatar have repeatedly stalled. Still, U.S. officials have expressed hope of an agreement in the coming days. The talks come as Netanyahu met with 2 major critics of Biden's ceasefire proposal. That's the finance minister and national security minister. Both have threatened to resign if Biden's proposal were accepted. We now know more about what led to last summer's deadly boar's head listeria outbreak.
Our consumer reporter, Michelle Renee Quinn, is here to tell us this new information. Good morning, Michelle Renee.
Chris, Kyrian, good morning. A new government report shows unsanitary conditions at a Boar's Head plant in Virginia were contributing to factors that led to last summer's listeria outbreak. Now, the Center for Disease Control first started investigating the outbreak last July. Days later, the company recalled a number of its products, including 7 million pounds of deli meat. 10 people died and more than 60 others were sickened in 19 states by the tainted products. Now, the Agriculture Department report says food inspectors found insects both dead and alive, mold, mildew, and other problems at the company's Jarrett, Virginia plant weeks before the outbreak. Boar's Head closed the plant last September. Now, the report also called for better government oversight to prevent future outbreaks.
Hopefully this new information will prevent those future outbreaks, because I know that was just a mystery for everyone over the summer.
That was a big story. All right, Michelle Renee, thank you.
Absolutely.
6:08 in other consumer news this morning, a couple of major retailers announcing more store closures over the weekend. First, Macy's said it's shutting down 66 underperforming stores this year. That's in more than 20 states. Meanwhile, Kohl's says that it plans to close 27 stores by April. Both companies say the closures will allow them to focus their efforts on the remaining locations in order to boost profits and service.
In local news this morning, this past election saw some turnover in the state capitol, especially in Dane County. Last week marked the swearing in of the new lawmakers. One new lawmaker is Maureen McCarville. She's a Democrat representing the DeForest area. Will Keneally spoke with her on this week's For the Record about her priorities for the new session.
I want to get a lot of things done, but I want to look at it from the standpoint of, we have to work together. So I tell people it wasn't just rhetoric at the door. I really do intend to work with folks across the aisle. My staff are here. Her dad is a representative on the Republican side, and we've already had a chat in the office.
She says that she's worked in several nonpartisan roles with a variety of different people.
Restaurant Week is coming up. Take a look at your screen this week on News 3 Now this morning. We'll be giving away restaurant bucks all week long. The vouchers are worth $30, so you can enter to win these by heading to our website, channel3000.com. If you want the quick and easy way to get there, channel3000.com/entertainment/contests.
All right, you don't want to miss out on that, so be sure to lock in right here for a chance to win those restaurants.
Good restaurants on the list this year.
More than 40 of them, so hey, plenty to choose from.
Always good restaurants on the list this year. This year as well.
And years before,
Yeah,
always.
Always.
All right, let's check in with Jacob. What's coming up?
Yeah, we're going to continue to see cold temperatures, but then we'll see some warmer temperatures followed by more cold air. I'll talk more in detail about all of that after the break.
And coming up in your morning sports, highlights from Green Bay's wild card game against the Eagles.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
We're back at 6:14. You're taking a live look right now at I-90, 94 West in Wisconsin Dells. We are learning more information about a crash that's closed all westbound lanes. You can see first responders here on the scene. This is just north of the ramp to US 12 State Route 16. The crash involved a semi that's overturned. That is the only vehicle involved. The driver is in the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, we're told. And we'll keep an eye on the roads there and provide updates as we learn more.
All right, in the meantime, let's check in with Jacob Montesano and with your first one weather this morning on this alert day. Hey, Jacob.
Hey, Chris. Yeah, temperatures are very cold right now, and they're going to continue to be cold for tomorrow, which is why we have the alert day conditions in place. Now, looking at the three things you need to know, the first one is the cold weather today and tomorrow, but we are going to see a brief warm up for Thursday and Friday. Now, I say brief because by this time next week, we could be talking about temperatures even colder than what we're seeing right now and tomorrow. I'll talk about that in a moment, but first, here's a look at the current wind chills. -10 in Madison, -teens off to the west. Still in the negative single digits further to the east, but everywhere expect to see wind chills in the negative double digits, if not this morning, definitely tomorrow morning. So let's take a look at the wind chill forecast. Even for the afternoon hours, it's going to remain cold. Wind chills will stay below zero, could rise a few degrees above it, but otherwise remaining cold throughout the day. And looking at tomorrow, it's going to be even colder during the morning hours with wind chills possibly down to -20. Could even get to -25 further north and west. And then although we're going to have another morning Wednesday where wind chills will be below zero, it is going to be a lot better, and then conditions will improve throughout the day on Wednesday. By the time we get to Thursday, it will be a lot milder. But when wind chills get this cold, we could be talking about frostbite in as little as 30 minutes. Now, basically what happens with the winds and why the wind chill is so important is because when there's no wind, even when it's cold out, there could still be a small layer of heat around your body. But the wind kind of pushes that out of the way and makes it feel a lot colder. So that's why when the actual temperature is, let's say, for example, 1 degree and there's no wind, it'll feel like it's 1 degree. It is important to point out that pets get affected by the wind chill as well, but non-living things such as cars do not. So when it comes to the actual temperature, that's more important for your car. But again, your pets could definitely feel the wind chill as well, so it feels -10 for them as well. Now, here's a look at the high temperatures going forward. Thursday and Friday, we're going to have highs in the upper 30s, possibly lower 40s, but then it's going to drop back down to even colder levels for Monday and Tuesday of next week. Now, we don't have an alert day in the forecast yet, simply because a lot can change over the next 7 days. But if this continues, we absolutely will put an alert day, because comparing the highs for today and today and tomorrow's an alert day, they're still about 10 degrees colder. So we could be talking about even colder air this time next week. So get ready.
The Packers entered the postseason as the second youngest team to ever make the playoffs, right behind last year's Packers team. This year, a more experienced group hoped to make a deeper run in the playoffs. Against the Eagles is where they started in the wild card round, and it was win or go home. But from the opening kickoff, it was clear the Eagles weren't going anywhere. Very first play of the game, and Keyshawn Nixon, the former All-Pro return man, fumbles the football the worst way you could imagine to start this one, and it only got worse because Philly, they would capitalize. Jalen Hurts making his return from injury. Feels like he has all day to dance around in the pocket. Finally finds Jahan Dotson for the score, and that set the tone for the rest of this one. The Pack suffered a shocking number of injuries, turned it over 4 times, and barely could ever find their way into the end zone outside of just here. Josh Jacobs gets in for the touchdown, the only Packers touchdown of the day. Ultimately, they could not recover from their own self-inflicted injuries and mishaps. Still, also couldn't win the big one. The season ends with a 22-10 loss.
Defensively, I thought we played winning football. It's just offensively and on special teams, we had too many mistakes, and you can't overcome those against a really good football team.
We got to find ways to just execute and win those big-time games like that. And obviously this year we weren't able to do that. So there'll be a lot of stuff we'll look at, trying to figure out what exactly, the kind of the root of our problem is and areas we can get better.
When it comes to Mark Johnson, he's just about done it all. The Wisconsin women's hockey head coach scored 2 goals for Team USA in the Miracle on Ice game in the 1980 Olympics and has won 7 national championships at Wisconsin. On Saturday, he won his 650th game on the Badger bench and went looking for win number 651 yesterday against Minnesota Duluth. First period, Layla Edwards intercepts the pass, and she passes to Kirsten Sims, who has a whole lot of room. She feels it out, makes the right play, passing to Cassie Hall, and she forces the issue. Number 11 put the Badgers on the board. They'd get 2 more of those and go on to win it by a score of 3-1. That's your morning sports fix. Have a magnificent Monday.
Thanks, Andrew. Still ahead, we're going to talk about some of the memorable off-the-field moments from the NFL Wild Card Weekend.
We're back right after this. 6:23. This photo from Travis. He's giving us a look at his Christmas amaryllis this morning.
That's beautiful.
Beautiful photo here. So we've been asking you to share your morning with us. Of course, you can send those photos in and use hashtag 9News3Morning.
Appreciate it, Travis. Well, trending this morning, the Packers season is over, and a moment off the field during the game yesterday just added insult to the injuries. Take a look at this. Fourth quarter, Eagles had a nice lead here, and wide receiver A.J. Brown is reading a book on the sidelines? Come on, man. The book is a sports psychology book titled Inner Excellence by Jim Murphy. Brown had 1 catch for 10 yards in the win yesterday over Green Bay. It's like,
you should join the Come On Man segment.
Come on, man.
This just goes to show how they were not worried about a thing at this point in the game.
Yeah.
They're like yeah, good luck.
Didn't like it.
Well, like you said, he clearly did a lot to help them win. 1 catch for 10 yards.
I was going to say, well, he didn't do much, but
Exactly.
I guess all you can do is read a book on the sidelines.
Right. Well, check this out. This is Bills wideout Matt Collins, who's proven that you could arrive to a big game with a little levity. What do you think of his outfit here?
Tacky.
Tacky?
I mean, I guess
it's fun.
It takes people back a little bit, gives them that Flintstone vibe.
Yabba dabba doo.
I like the outfit, but I can't help but wonder how cold his feet are. Yeah. I mean, Buffalo, New York is not a warm place.
And Fred legs were not that long. Like, look how long his legs are,
Right.
and he's walking through there like
Toes
that.
are a little small, too, compared to Freddie's. All right, Bills went on to get the win over the Broncos yesterday. And NFL on Nickelodeon. They're having some fun with that Texans playoff game. All the graphics is the slime. I know they do some of these every once in a while, but I'm just like the graphic. They're taking these graphics to like another level here.
Yes, it's like 3D, but like there was actual slime involved here, apparently.
Oh no!
Like
I'd be so mad.
I'd be upset. I would be upset.
Because you can't. It's not like you could just like go to your bathroom and clean it all off or go take a shower or anything. You got You got to go find your car. You got to sit in your car. You know, and go, everywhere you go, you're going to be covered in slime.
I saw a joke on Facebook that during these telecasts, Patrick from SpongeBob will actually like critique the players, and someone's like, if that happens, that's a new low for an NFL player.
Literally.
Oh, man. All right. Jacob, those cold temps out there getting even colder today, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have wind chills in the negative teens over the next few hours. Tomorrow morning in the negative 20s. It will warm up Thursday, Friday, but this time next week.
The efforts to get the fires under control as the fire continues to claim more lives.
Also, this morning we look at ice fishing conditions in the area and how recent weather is affecting the ice on our lakes.
Good Monday morning, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 Now this morning. I'm Chris Stanford.
And I'm Kyrie Lee. Thanks for waking up with us this morning. Ice fishing. I'm assuming those lakes are looking pretty good
Mother
right now
Nature
for
getting
that.
them a little bit more ice out there this morning, helping out the cause. We're going to get to those cold temps in just a moment. First, I want to get you an update on a traffic situation up near Wisconsin Dells. This is I-90-94 West. We've been keeping our eye on a semi that was overturned. It looked like they just got that thing out of there. Official word from the DOT is that this thing is still shut down at US 12, State Route 16. We have seen some movement here, so no official word again from the state on whether this is opened back up yet, but they're getting pretty close. All right, let's check in with meteorologist Jacob Madison is in for Savannah this morning with your alert day forecast. Jacob.
Yeah, temperatures are very cold, and it is important to note that although we don't have a ton of moisture on the ground, any moisture that was left over has very likely frozen over, which is why we could still be seeing some slippery road conditions. Looking at the current wind chills, negative 10 in Madison, negative 16 in Monroe. It is very cold out there. Continues to get colder, although we're starting to get to the point in time where temperatures may be steady before they rise a little bit, but we're going to see wind chills even colder than this tomorrow morning. A big reason for that, obviously the temperatures, but also we're dealing with some breezy conditions. Wind speeds up around 10 to 15, even approaching 20 miles per hour for a few locations has really made those wind chills drop. And taking a look at the temperature change from 24 hours ago, over 20 degrees colder for a lot of our area. Some locations up near 30 degrees colder. Now, as we take a look at the forecast throughout the day, temperatures will rise into the teens, but winds are going to remain breezy, so wind chills will remain at near zero. We are going to continue to see clear skies as we head into the overnight hours as well, which will allow temperatures to fall really far down once again with even colder wind chills tomorrow. I'll talk more about that coming up in just a bit.
All right, sounds good. Folks, you can stay ahead of those temperatures that are going up and down with the free First Warn weather app. Get it wherever you get yours. All right, back to our coverage of the wildfires in Los Angeles. This is a view from atop Mount Wilson this morning where the wildfires there continue to devastate the area. Officials are now saying that 24 people are dead and at least 16 are missing. Right now, there are 3 main fires. One's almost fully contained, while 2 are less than 30% contained. And authorities are warning that the wind is expected to pick back up, and it could undo a lot of the progress that those firefighters have made.
That's right, and many people in the area of the fires will have to rebuild from barely anything.
Organizations have set up several donation centers in the LA area. Take a look at this. This is in Santa Anita at the racetrack. Thousands of people showing up to collect donations for basic needs like food, water, and clothing. Lines were long, and the donations themselves took up much of the large space that they had. Organizers tell CBS News Los Angeles that they received so many donations that they aren't accepting anymore.
But if you are interested in helping from afar, there are several organizations you can donate to. CBS has partnered with the American Red Cross, and as we've reported, there are volunteers and employees from the American Red Cross of Wisconsin on the ground in California. World Central Kitchen is providing food and water for those who need it. The Los Angeles Fire Department Foundation and Regional Food Bank are accepting donations as well. And you can find a complete list of organizations to support, along with links to do so at cbsnews.com.
Meantime, schools in the LA area will be reopening after many lost power. The superintendent says over 50 schools did not have electricity. Now, only one school is without power. School districts schools are going to restrict outdoor activity for the kiddos for the time being. The fires already destroyed 2 public elementary schools.
6:33 to some local news now. Happening today, a Marshall man accused of homicide in the death of his girlfriend will learn his fate in court. 71-year-old Jose Gonzalez, who you see here, pleaded no contest to a charge of first-degree intentional homicide. This is in connection to the death of 39-year-old Dora Gonzalez Zarate. This happened back on May 24th, 2022. A criminal complaint says the woman was trying to get out of a relationship with Gonzalez. The sentencing hearing is scheduled for this morning at 9:30.
Republican Congressman Brian Stile is beginning his fourth term on Capitol Hill, and he enters on the back of a competitive race to represent Wisconsin's 1st District. Stile's fourth term is to date his only term with his party in control of both houses of Congress and the White House. So how does that affect his outlook coming into the session? Here's what he had to say on For the Record.
One of the challenges we had in the House while the Senate was under Democratic control is we would often pass good legislation that the Senate wouldn't even bring up for a vote. This Congress, I'm confident that under the leadership of Republican Senator John Thune, the Senate's going to bring forward our legislation, and we can actually work together on absolutely essential provisions, in particular, again, border security and bringing costs down through addressing the reckless spending in Washington.
Congressman Stile traveled to Mar-a-Lago over the weekend with other House Republicans to meet with President-elect Donald Trump. Stile spoke about that and much more in the full interview you can watch on channel3000.com. And remember, you can watch the full For the Record every Sunday morning at 10:30 right here on News 3 Now.
Speaking of the incoming administration, Vice President-elect J.D. Vance says he opposes pardons for some who participated in the January 6th insurrection. Speaking on Fox News Sunday, Vance says those who committed any violence on that day should not receive a pardon. This comes at odds with the president-elect. Trump has promised to pardon those charged in connection to the insurrection. Vance did say that nonviolent participants should be pardoned.
There's a little bit of a gray area there, but we're very much committed to seeing the equal administration of law. And there are a lot of people, we think, in the wake of January the 6th who were prosecuted unfairly. We need to rectify that.
More than 1,400 people have been charged in connection with the attack. More than 900 have faced convictions.
Well, with those colder temperatures, more people are heading out onto the ice to fish.
But how effective and safe is this activity? Our Meryl Hubbard finds out.
It's no surprise that this coat keeps me pretty warm out here, and the same thing goes for the snow when it coats the ice. So we're going to take a deeper look into the science under the ice.
If you have that winter coat on, you still lose heat, but it's not as fast. And that's kind of what the snow is acting like when you put it on top of a frozen lake.
Blaze Keller, News 3 meteorologist, says this little layer of snow will insulate some of the water's heat, slowing down some of the ice growth.
It'll grow, but it's just going to take more time.
The ice deepens most at night when there's prolonged temperatures at or below zero. This winter is bringing those temps, so even with a bit of snow, the ice on Monona Bay is thick enough for winter activities.
There's not as much to do in the winter as there is in the summer, I guess. Been waiting for safe ice.
Dave Dresson and his family went out ice fishing for the first time this season.
Kids enjoy it, so like I tell them, this is fishing, it's not catching, so be prepared.
It's a game of patience, especially when the weather tests the limits.
There are days you're out there and you're kind of thinking, why the heck do I do this?
Drew Reyes, who was fishing with a friend, says safety comes first.
First of all, check conditions of the ice by calling like local bait shops, or if you have a buddy in the area that you trust. Do that first and foremost, and then check your weather.
With at least 4 inches of ice and a buddy by your side, ice fishing can be a fun challenge if you're up for it.
I've been doing it my whole life, and I don't think I'll ever stop, so I'll come out and brave the weather anytime.
Reporting on Monona Bay, Meryl Hubbard, News 3 Now.
While 4 inches of ice is generally considered safe for walking, experts say no ice is 100% safe.
Now to the Packers. Green Bay's season's all over. It ended the way it started with a loss to the Eagles. The game could not have started off any worse for the Packers. Opening kickoff, Keyshawn Nixon fumbles, Eagles recover, and then march down the field and score a touchdown. Mistakes plagued the Packers all game long. 2 other fumbles, a missed field goal. Jordan Love threw 3 interceptions, including this one to Darius Slay. Love didn't throw a single pick. since Week 11 against the Bears. Somehow the Packers stayed in it, though, within striking distance. Third quarter, though, Dallas Goedert takes it on the near side, shrugs off a tackle for the touchdown. No way back for the Pack. They fall to Philadelphia, 22-10. Packers have won one playoff game in the last 4 years. And the Eagles, they're moving on. They're going to either host the Vikings or the Rams in the divisional round.
Yeah, sad to see him go out like that.
No, you're not. You're a Chiefs fan.
Yeah, we're still, just letting the good times roll a little bit. I know, but I'm just sad for you and the people, all the fans.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it was a rough one to watch from the beginning. Like looking at the team stats, though. I mean, things were really even. The big standouts, though, were those turnovers. 4 turnovers for Green Bay, 0 for Philadelphia, and all those injuries. I mean, it was like every 2 minutes another player went down and got carted off the field. It was sad to see.
All season, really. So hopefully they'll come back healthy next year and redo.
And Jordan Love just never really got going this year.
No, he didn't. He always had something going on with him. Right. So hopefully he can redeem himself.
Here's the next season.
Well, coming up after the break, we'll look at the rise in jobs involving AI and what that means for the future of work.
We're back right after this.
Watching News 3 Now this morning, moving forward.
Well, we're back here on your Monday morning. Some of the fastest growing jobs in 2025 are going to revolve around AI.
A LinkedIn Emerging Jobs report says the demand for AI specialists has surged. Our consumer reporter, Michelle Renee Quinn, has the details. Good morning.
Chris Kyrion, good morning. That surge is a 75% increase in job listings. Roles like data scientists and AI researchers are in demand. New AI-driven positions in manufacturing and logistics show how significant workforce evolution is rather than a reduction in the workforce. The World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report projects a shift in the division of labor between humans, machines, and algorithms. They say in part, while 85 million jobs may be displaced by automation, an impressive 97 million new roles are projected to emerge. LinkedIn looked at millions of jobs based on user information from 2022 to 2024, and the top 2 jobs were artificial intelligence engineer and artificial intelligence consultant. Following that is physical therapist, workforce development manager, and travel advisor. But overall, when it comes to AI in the job force, it is essential to be AI literate, and reskilling may be necessary. So there are targeted educational programs and outreach efforts to gain knowledge that are available to help move us forward.
People are going to have to start adding some different topics to that skills section on their resumes now.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Right.
Thank you.
Thanks for that information, showing the shift. Well, 6:44 now, happening tomorrow. A popular fast food chain is set to open up in Janesville. Raising Cane's, a restaurant known for its delicious chicken fingers, are going to open up on Milton Avenue. What do you think of their chicken fingers, Kyrion?
It could add a little more seasoning.
But I love to go to Kyrion for the
for all things, chicken tenders related.
She's got some hot takes.
Yes.
So there's going to be an opening ceremony tomorrow at 10 o'clock. You're encouraged to show up early for your chance to win some giveaways. More information about the prizes and restaurants is up right now at channel3000.com.
On the other hand, Macy's is set to close its Philadelphia Center City store this spring. The store opened in the early 20th century and has been home to some famous landmarks. They include the giant eagle statue and the Wanamaker organ. The store has also been the site of the city's famous Christmas light show. The closing will affect around 128 employees. City leaders there say their workforce programs will help find those employees new jobs. 3 other Macy's locations in Pennsylvania are also closing.
I want to give you an update on a crash situation up near the Wisconsin Dells. Here's a live look at the interstate. This is just south of the ramp to US 12 State Route 16. So we've been telling you that this hour about a crash that closed westbound lanes. That scene is cleared, but we are learning of a separate crash right by the original one. It has again closed westbound lanes, and what you're seeing here. So this first crash involved only a semi-truck. We do know one person is in the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. We're going to keep watching this for you and provide updates here on News 3 Now this morning.
Well, it is a cold start to the morning for all of that to be happening. Let's check in now with meteorologist Jacob Montesano. Good morning.
Good morning, Kyrian. Here's a look at the 3 things you need to know. We're going to see very cold temperatures today and tomorrow, but then we're going to see a brief warm up for Thursday and Friday, followed by even colder temperatures for this time next week. I'll talk about that in a moment, but as we look at the alert day conditions, that is for this morning and tomorrow morning with wind chills possibly near -20. Again, tomorrow morning is expected to be colder than what we're seeing right now. As we look at the wind gust forecast, it's going to remain breezy throughout the day. Wind gusts will be around 20 to 25 miles per hour. It will calm down a little bit for the evening, but then pick back up as we head into the early morning hours. Tuesday, where wind gusts once again up near 25 miles per hour. Now, it once again will improve for Tuesday night and Wednesday won't be nearly as windy, although it still will be cold during this time. But as we get later in the day on Wednesday, the winds are going to pick up, but this time they're going to be out of the south-southwest, which will allow warmer air to move back into our region. And for Thursday and Friday, it won't be nearly as bad. But until then, we're still going to see some very cold wind chills. During the afternoon, the wind chills will remain below 0. And then for Tuesday morning, they're going to drop to near -20. So very cold temperatures are in the forecast for tomorrow morning. If you think it's cold right now, it's only going to get colder. Wednesday morning, we're also going to have the wind chills below 0, but not quite as bad. And then conditions will improve Wednesday afternoon and continue to improve for Thursday. So looking at the wind chill and frostbite chart, this yellow box is where we're going to be. So at some points, frostbite could occur in as little as 30 minutes to exposed skin. So if you are going to be outside, definitely bundle up, because this cold could get potentially dangerous if you are outside for a prolonged period of time. Now, looking at the high temperature forecast for the next 10 days, upper 30s, lower 40s are in the forecast for Thursday and Friday, so it's going to be very nice. But then take a look at the high temperatures for this time next week and compare them to the high temperatures today and tomorrow. And today and tomorrow are alert days. So we're talking about possibly even colder temperatures for this time next week. Now, we don't have an alert day in the forecast just yet because a lot can change between now and then. But if this trend continues, we absolutely will put an alert day in the forecast. So prepare for even colder temperatures next week. And as far as snowfall goes, we're going to continue to see very little of it. Just a slight chance of some snow Friday night. But that's going to be just about it. So very cold temperatures with some mild days mixed in, and continuing to see little to no snow on the ground.
And it's crazy to think that places like, Dallas, Texas, and Atlanta are getting more snow than we've had. So that's crazy to think about.
Yeah, I was saying earlier we should lend them our snow trucks because they haven't really been needed up here.
Yeah, I would say they shut their cities down when it snows
exactly.
down there. So, all right. Well, Jacob, thank you. Well, if one of your New Year's resolutions is to get more exercise, you are not alone. Studies show around 40% of Americans resolve to get moving more in the new year. While we may think of the gym as a healthy place, germs can still spread, of course. And with illnesses going around, there are ways to stay healthy and protect others. SSM Health's Dr. Rupa Shah says to ensure you're disinfecting surfaces you are touching at the gym.
Think of all the surfaces you touch at the gym, the weights, the cardio machines, the mats, even the locker rooms, any surfaces that other people have touched. You really want to be mindful of not touching those if possible, and at least not touching your eyes or your face with them.
Dr. Shah also recommends not pushing yourself to go to the gym when you're sick, and refrain from wearing your gym clothes around after you get home.
You just skip the gym. There you
go. That's always, a thing too. So, either way, just make sure you're staying healthy out there.
Hope your New Year's resolution is still going strong.
Well, coming up in the morning, Sprint new data on vasectomies in America.
And look who's 3 today. We are celebrating Tenley's birthday. Happy birthday. Hey, if you have a kiddo turning 3, send us a picture like Tenley's family did. Here's the address. We're back with the morning sprint right after this. 54, time for the morning sprint.
You're taking a live look at the Los Angeles area from atop Mount Wilson this morning. That's where wildfires continue to devastate the area. Officials say 24 people are dead and at least 16 are missing. Right now, there are 3 main fires. 1 is almost fully contained, while 2 are less than 30% contained. Authorities warn that wind is expected to pick back up.
2 people are dead after an accident involving a lift basket. This happened Saturday morning in the town of Galesville in Trempealeau County. The sheriff's office says 2 men were in the basket lift trimming trees when it tipped over. Deputies say the lift sat on a slope, and that is what caused it to fall. The 2 men died at the scene.
Happening today, a Marshall man accused of homicide and the death of his girlfriend will learn his fate in court. 71-year-old Jose Gonzalez pleaded no contest to a charge of first-degree intentional homicide. This is in connection to the death of 39-year-old Dora Gonzalez Zarate. This happened back on May 24th, 2022. The sentencing hearing is scheduled for this morning at 9:30.
Talks of a potential ceasefire deal in the Middle East are reportedly stalling. The U.S., Egypt, and Qatar are all mediating the talks. Still, U.S. officials have expressed hope of an agreement in the coming days. The talks come as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with two major critics of Biden's ceasefire proposal. Both have threatened to resign if Biden's proposal were accepted.
More men are getting vasectomies after the reversal of Roe v. Wade. Data from Nature shows a nearly quarter increase in vasectomy consultations. Since then, a study published in JAMA Network found a third of men getting vasectomies said the Dobbs decision was an important factor in their decision. There's also been a rise in younger men getting the procedure.
And it's season over for the Packers. They lost last night to the Philadelphia Eagles 22-10 in the wild card round of the playoffs. A lot of mistakes, mostly in the first half. Cost the green and gold. Packers have won one playoff game in 4 years. The Eagles are now going to face either Minnesota or Los Angeles in the divisional round.
And taking a final look at the 10-day forecast, cold temperatures are in the forecast for today and tomorrow, but then we are going to see them warm up for Thursday and Friday before falling back down to possibly even colder levels this time next week. Meanwhile, we will continue to see very little snowfall. So a little bit of everything temperature-wise. I mean, Friday is going to feel like it's 50 just based on how cold it's been, and that's going to be followed by colder weather. Even colder than today.
What a swing.
Yes, looking forward to later in the week.
Yeah, me too.
We're back in 30 minutes with the news and weather update.